Namaskar viewers, hello and welcome to Sansad TV. I am Tina Jha, you are watching Perspective. The Viksit Bharat Guarantee for Rozgar and Ajeevika Mission, Gramin, referred to as the Viksit Bharat G Bill 2025, was introduced in Lok Sabha on Tuesday by Union Minister of Rural Development and Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Shivraj Singh Chouhan. Aligned with the national vision of Viksit Bharat by 2047, the bill seeks to provide a guarantee of 125 days of wage employment in every financial year to every rural household whose adult members volunteer to undertake unskilled manual work, thereby promoting empowerment, growth, convergence and saturation for a prosperous and resilient rural Bharat.
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, हमारा संकल्प है गरीब का कल्याण और इसमें उसी संकल्प को पूरा करने का हमने प्रयत्न किया है। न केवल गरीब का कल्याण बल्कि उसके साथ गांव का संपूर्ण विकास, जो महात्मा गांधी कहते थे, एक स्वयंपूर्ण गांव, एक स्वावलंबी गांव, एक विकसित गांव का निर्माण, इसका प्रावधान इसमें किया गया है। ये पूरा बिल महात्मा गांधी जी की भावनाओं के अनुरूप है, राम राज की स्थापना के लिए है।
Let's now take a quick overview of some of the key provisions in the bill. It says all works undertaken under this bill will be aggregated into the Viksit Bharat National Rural Infrastructure Stack, creating a unified national framework for rural public works. All works will be identified through Viksit Gram Panchayat plans, which are bottom-up, convergence-based and saturation-oriented. These will be prepared using spatial technology and integrated with the PM Gati Shakti to enable coordinated and efficient planning. States will be empowered to notify in advance periods aggregating to 60 days in a financial year, during which works under the bill shall not be undertaken, in order to facilitate the availability of farm labour during peak sowing and harvesting seasons. Every state government is required to prepare a scheme for giving effect to the guarantee proposed under this bill within 6 months of the commencement of the Act. It will operate as a centrally sponsored scheme with a fund sharing pattern of 90:10 for the northeastern and the Himalayan states as well as the union territories and 60:40 for all other states. Besides, there are several other provisions aimed at benefiting the rural economy, the farmers and the labourers. So we'll explore these as well as the changes proposed in the bill that make it different from the existing MNREGA. Joining us are two distinguished guests. So let me begin by introducing them to you. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome on this edition of Perspective Dr. Vivek Kumar, Professor, Centre for Rural Development and Technology, IIT Delhi. Professor, thank you for joining us. Welcome to the program. Also with us is Mr. Binod Anand. He is an expert in rural employment and rural development with over a decade of experience in monitoring and evaluation of grassroots development programs. He was part of the drafting member team during the inception of key rural and agricultural policy initiatives, and he is currently a member of the Prime Minister's Committee on Minimum Support Price. Mr. Anand, thank you for your time. Welcome to the program. So before we delve into the details of the provisions in the bill and the benefits that it is expected to have on the rural economy, let's begin the program with your thoughts, Mr. Anand, on what you see as the core objective of the Viksit Bharat G bill. But also to add to that question, as someone who's closely associated with issues of rural development and rural employment, why do you think the government felt the need for a new legislation at this point in time?
See, this is the time, Tina, to create a nation building through self-reliance, innovation and entrepreneurial spirit. This is what Viksit Bharat by 2047 vision is. It's an Atmanirbhar Bharat where innovation and inclusive growth will be at the center. So the deep water exploration was certain when the Honorable Prime Minister was talking about, removing the colonial mindset, Viksit Bharat resolve, the pride in roots, strengthening our unity and fulfilling the duties of citizens. This cannot be done with an act of 2006. We cannot have a MNREGA Act of 2006 and think about 2047 and to the net zero emission villages. So that is why the need of this bill was, and this is not a time where the poverty is being, this accidental poverty cannot be tackled in this way. It has to be designed properly, the mind, so to speak, and the institutional, institutional steps are required, and that's why this model is the economic justice. This is economic justice model, not the charity model. This is a community institution empowering model, and therefore this bill was. We must understand that the lines what has been talked about. See, this is the employment growth, convergence, and saturation scheme for 125 days, not 100 days. That's the first thing. And this convergence of a scheme will be used by PM Gati Shakti. So it will be, it is just not giving money, crores of money to the state government, and then they will decide. It will be pre-decided by the Gram Panchayat. It will be pre-decided on saturation basis. And it will be integrated with Viksit Bharat National. And that's what the changes are. This is to facilitate the availability of farm labor during peak agricultural season. A robust system will be there. The digital public infrastructure is at place. So the efficient and high integrity implementation is on card through this BP Gram G scheme, which is GRAM G scheme. So that is why this is more than that what the MNREGA is talking about. 100 miles ahead of what MNREGA was talking about, NREGA and MNREGA, and now this is a GRAM G bill. So this is a very, very visionary one. It will overall change the rural, rural infrastructure stack. It is not like just gadda khodo and bharo. It is not like just, doing the watershed activity. It is in a planned way. The livelihood related infrastructure and a special works would be there. So that is why this bill is different.
Okay,
Let me tell you.
So we'll talk about the long-term outcomes and also all aspects related to the technology, the planning and the data aspects in due course of the program. But Professor, your opening remarks on one of the biggest questions that is being asked today is how is this bill different or better than MNREGA? So in terms of the structural changes, if you could tell us and our viewers about what are the most substantive differences that you see in the GRAM G bill and the existing MNREGA.
We have to see the evolution of MNREGA or the changes happening in MNREGA after 2014. And if we look at this GRAM G bill, we can understand that it was eventuality, right? And this structural change was very much needed, as pointed out by Binodji also. If you look at the if you do the sustainability assessment of MNREGA, there is a sea difference between MNREGA achievement before 2014 and after 2014. So in 2015, some new work were included, and now we are talking about very structured intervention through MNREGA. We are talking about water security, we are talking about core rural infrastructure, livelihood related infrastructure, right? We are talking all about it. And in 2015, some of these components were added, and what we see across the states, those have paid, right? For example, Amrit Sarovar Yojana. So now it is a time to include all these things in a very structured form. You also have to see the difference between 2005 and 2025. 2025 now, at that time, 2005, we were actually fighting with extreme poverty. We were fighting with multidimensional poverty. Now, very recently, you must have seen the data from World Bank, and of course, Indian government also published that data. Now it is a time to strengthen. So we are coming out. So the population of significant population of India has come out of that extreme poverty or multidimensional poverty. So now we need to, utilize that thing and give prosperity to this population. So instead of just as my fellow panelists also mentioned, gadda khodo gadda baro abhiyan, we should utilize this scheme for building Viksit Bharat, connecting it with PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan. I think it's a wonderful move to make MNREGA more structured with the name of and make it GRAM G.
Okay, so from a Viksit Bharat point of view, it's quite empowering, and it's empowering the rural economy in more ways than one. Coming to the specifics now, Mr. Anand, the bill allows states to pause work for up to 60 days during peak agricultural season. talk to us about how does this balance the interest of the farmers and the wage laborers?
You see, during agriculture harvesting season and sowing season, there was a dearth of labor, and that is not uniform. Means that was varied in each and every state. Say for say Punjab. So there are farmers, there are people who are migrating to the Punjab. So there were so many different kind of challenges when it is availability to labor in agriculture. So that is why this 60 days whenever the sowing and harvesting will be there, MNREGA scheme, MNREGA activities, or else the new GRAMG bill, those rural employment programs will be at a stall. So this is a great thing. This is what the demand of the rural India. There is a demand from the people who are into the agricultural arena. See, the very foundation of this strengthening of this scheme is what the critics were talking about. See, this is an era of again. I'm coming back after answering your question. Is of DBT, Jan Aadhaar, Jan Dhan, mobile connectivity. Even the mobility of mobility has gone by. The trains are now too many. The transportation is not that much tough. So this scheme has become cleaner, more transparent, and more accountable. So that's why this is a kind of a dignified and very important step which government has taken, Tina.
So certainly it's aimed at improving income stability, reducing distress migration among rural laborers that you pointed out. But given the concerns and the apprehensions, Professor, it's important to make people understand about the benefits for the farmers, for the laborers, for the rural economy holistically. Where do you see the biggest gains coming from?
See, as far as primary stakeholder is concerned, that is, the rural folks. For them, everything is positive in this bill. For example, the number of days has been enhanced from 100 to 125. Secondly, if you look at the structure, the way the focus is being on infrastructure. Now, the biggest achievement, as I said earlier also, of MNREGA in last 5-6 years is creation of Amrit Sarovars. Now we are going to strengthen it more. We are going to focus on storage structures. So we are actually talking about core rural infrastructure. Now, if all it happens, then ultimately it provide the boost to the rural economy. So for the rural population, it is a win-win situation. So number of days are increasing, the productivity is going to increase, and the assets which will be created under MNREGA or under GRAMG, they will also improve the economic productivity of rural population. So it's a win-win situation. And even for this 60 days pause, as rightly mentioned by my fellow panelists, that there was a huge demand of farmers. So they were facing artificial, inflation in the wage rate of labor. So, and it is not that, so everything will be, so 125 days are separate than these 60 days. All is very good for rural population.
Okay, so significant tangible benefits for farmers, laborers on the ground. But Mr. Anand, how do you see this convergence of infrastructure creation, of employment, of the manner in which the agricultural planning is happening to improve the farm productivity, but most importantly also the resilience, especially in the rain-fed, the vulnerable regions of our country?
You see, I will take you to I will give you two examples through you, means to the larger policymaker and to the farming community either. So this is the time of PAX to Apex approach. This is the time of wage work to wealth creation. And that's what this GRAMG scheme is all talking about. We are going to invest the world's largest amount in creation of rural godowns. That's what through every PAX will have a godown. We are going to have 2.5 lakh of PAX. The whole economy of the rural India is going to change. It's not only the digging of the watershed bodies. It is going to be the different kind of schemes. the institutional spine of the rural economy is going to be on cooperative economic framework. And that's why this scheme is very, very important. This is the scheme of natural convergence when it will talk about the point of rural employment, right? It is just shifting from the fragmented approach. Now it is a very planned, asset-oriented employments will be created, right? So that's how the sustaining of institutions, especially the cooperative system, and through panchayat, the convergence of packs with a panchayat ecosystem would be. Handling of credit, input supply, storage, procurement, everything require labor and a skilled labor. So mind you, this is not the only will be. This is the time when the rural people, especially the rural youth, now we are having the financial inclusion is not a dream now. It's almost 100%. Everybody is included. So this Viksit Bharat schemes would be a different one. So there will be a very, very strong focus on durable assets like water, road, irrigation, climate resilience, but the rural level will be converted into the national capital formation, that is through the rural areas, by the FPO, by the packs, and there the skilled labor is required. This is what the specialty in this, this GRAMG scheme. There would not be any distressed migration. There would no fragile livelihood nowadays. And it's a temporary relief. We do not require temporary relief. See, in 10 years, from 2005 to 2006 inception to 2014, it was an investment of around 2 lakh crore. And this government, that is from 2014 until now, it is around 8 lakh 50 crores, almost 4 times. This is what the investment has been done. So where the money is, that money need to be channeled to the productive rural estates, which will confident the rural citizen in the era of climate change when people are talking about. You see, this is the time when parali and all those management is required, the compressed biogas and the bioethanol policies, those are at framework. This requires a skilled labor in MNREGA in this through this scheme. So the state government will come up with a different kind of job card, different kind of planning, different kind of arrangement, and that's how this is going to address. The labor will build storage godowns, the drying yards, the compost units, milk processing infrastructure, and I can go on and go on about talking about this kind of. This is the improved bargaining power what the farmers will get and the rural people will get through these schemes. So this is a new one. This is something like Viksit Bharat we are envisioning, and certainly if the 10 year down the lane, the people will see the change.
Okay, so in addition to ensuring better asset creation, the focus this time is more on improving the efficiency for better long-term outcomes. A question on long-term outcomes to you, Professor, because this bill places a strong emphasis on spatial technology. It talks about data integration, and the Viksit Bharat National Rural Infrastructure Stack is something that I read while preparing for the bill. So if from a systems and technology perspective, if you could also explain to our viewers how transformative is this shift for the rural public works in the country?
So I think this is a great step actually. So if you look at the idea in this bill, it talks about the Viksit Gram Panchayat plan, and then it is there is a provision for special integration from panchayat to block to district and state, and then all has to be integrated through national master plan. So with this integrated approach, what will happen that each district, each state, each block, each gram panchayat will have an integrated planning, and those plans will be executed through this GRAMG. So I think this is a very good approach GRAMG has adopted. Secondly, if you talk about the technology is also going to be used in this whole framework for bringing the transparency and accountability. So in MNREGA, one of the shortcoming, I would say, was transparency and accountability. We know there had been cases of fake muster roll and everything. So we were doing some analysis of MNREGA in few districts. We found that there had been such cases, but now, and there were delays in the payment. Now look at this GRAMG bill. It talks about weekly wages, and everything will be linked with, or everything will be monitored through technology. So technology integration plus integration through geospatial planning, I think that's a very good idea. And as I said earlier also, that this is going to make the whole rural India very productive.
Okay, so towards implementation and accountability, there are several steps. There are various provisions that take care of this aspect to ensure transparency in the process. But Mr. Anand, as someone who understands the system so well, how critical is the capacity of the states to make this program a success?
You see, Tina, the thing is that we must understand in the Viksit Bharat when we are marching that our developed India now, we cannot rely on wage guarantees without productivity. So productivity need to be ensured. So if there is a Dhan Dhan Yojana in 100 districts, say in Bihar there are 4 districts, so the productivity need to be ensured, then only wage guarantees would be. There cannot be subsidies without ownership. So state has to take the ownership. Earlier it was just like that. And there were assets without institutions. We cannot just create assets. We have to create assets for the institutions. So maybe this GRAMG schemes, when will be aligned with a cooperative economic framework, then the cooperative being an state subject, it will be kind of the, suppose the labor required for packs, it will required for the packs. So it will be accurate, the planning would be accurate. So labor would create national wealth here. The asset will be community owned because the people, it will be created through their own village men. So the kind of asset will be created will be community owned. The incomes will be recurring, just like just now you said, weekly income would be there. And the villagers will be the beneficiaries to the producers. So this is the Sahakar se true Sahakar se Samriddhi in action. And the very line where I'm so happy with this thing is, this new framework will give the right to build institutions. This is just not only right to work. So that's where the changes be required. So here the worker, here the people who will have the custodians of the rural assets. So the worker will become a stakeholders rather, and the villages will become an enterprise, and that's how the economy, the cooperative economic framework will be at place. And the Viksit Bharat will just not be just in the boardroom things, but it will in the collective hands through cooperative strength, through villages. And here the role of the state government is very crucial, because the state government, the panchayat, they know what exactly needs to be done to fulfill all these roles. So when it comes to the financing inclusion network, and when it comes to the cooperative economic framework, where we are going to have 2.5 lakh packs, every packs will be in go down. And there could be so many different kind of rural assets. This is a win-win situation for us.
Certainly. For effective implementation, there has to be coordination among all stakeholders at different levels. As we wrap up the conversation, Professor, what kind of multiplier effect do you see this kind of a technology-driven rural employment program have on the broader rural economy? India is still an agrarian economy, and this is going to contribute majorly towards our Viksit Bharat vision. So how do you see this, if implemented effectively, how do you see this scheme adding to the momentum that's already been built?
So I have great hopes if it is implemented, as such. I have great hopes because it is going to give a lot of productive assets to the villages, right? So right from water structures or water security to the post-harvesting management things and, other livelihood, infrastructure assets. But besides that, I also see a kind of competitiveness in this bill. So, for example, if states come forward, and since they have now they also have the stake in this whole thing, in the whole framework, and if they come up with a very good plan and say that, okay, we are having this plan, and then now the central government, because it is all supply driven, and this supply has to be linked with the plan which state government are going to make. So the state who is going to make a good plan, better plan, they will be able to get major share. So there will be a competitiveness, and ultimately it all will be adding to the productivity. It all will be adding to the rural economy. So I have great hopes with this bill if it is implemented. This is a rider which
Absolutely. I think
we all know.
the key lies in effective implementation. Let's all hope that what the framework promises is implemented effectively for the desired outcomes. For now, we'll have to wrap up this conversation. Time allows us to take up only that much on the program. Thank you once again to both of you for joining in, sharing your thoughts, your views with us and our viewers. And to you viewers, thank you very much for your time as well.
संसद टीवी के और भी प्रोग्राम्स देखने के लिए सब्सक्राइब करें हमारा यूट्यूब चैनल और हाँ, इन्हें लाइक और शेयर करना ना भूलें।